What's up, guys? So there's been an update to eFootball, but not this version of the game. It's actually an update to the Chinese version of the game, and as you can see, an exchange system similar to EAFC has been added to the Chinese version, similar to SBCs or squad building challenges that are in EAFC and FIFA previously. And this is something that I've been saying to Konami that needs to be added to this game for such a long time. The Chinese game isn't developed by Konami. The way games work in China is publishers from outside of China sell the license to the Chinese market, and then a Chinese team will work on the game, probably just because they need to adhere to certain regulations within the Chinese market. But it can be a good indication of what's going to come to the Western markets after, because if it works here, Konami will look at it and go, maybe we should add it to the worldwide version. So if you're unfamiliar with how SBCs work, we'll go over to FIFA now and I'll explain the concept to you. Now, at the moment, this is all the SBCs that are available on EAFC. There's an absolute boatload, and you're definitely not intended to complete every single one. Instead, you're supposed to pick and choose which ones you think are better suited for you. And they're usually set up in two different areas. So you'd have players, three areas actually. You have players, icons, and upgrades. So if we just look at upgrades first, upgrades are usually stuff like you trade in a squad. In this case here, you need to trade in an 85 rated and an 86 rated squad, and in return you get a 1 of 3 base Trackstars Prime or Winter Wildcards Heroes card rated 88 or higher. So when we submit this SBC, we get a player pack in return. And this one here, we get Mascherano, Okocha, and Kohler High. So this one isn't great. We didn't really get anyone decent. Only really we can use these guys for fodder. So he's 89 rated. He can go back into another squad. But sometimes these packs can be really good. If you look at my squad, you'll know this squad. If you know about my second EAFC channel, this is it at the moment. From this, I actually got a Team of the Year Puskas from one of these picks for completing the match pass. So completely free to play match pass. Last level, I ended up getting this Team of the Year Puskas, and he's amazing. And arguably, he's better than R9 for me at the moment, which is crazy to think. But it's not just packs, it's also players. And I don't think Konami will go for the pack route. I think if they do add this to the worldwide release, and we can see from that screenshot, it does look like you're only just getting a player, Showtime Marquinhos in this instance. But you can see there's some pretty good players here. There's a Yapstam. I'm actually debating on doing this Yapstam because at the moment, I did his loan version. Each SBC can give you a loan version. Actually, that's just for the icons. If you do an icon SBC, you can test them out first in the loan. It's a very cheap squad, usually 84 rated. That's nothing. But the reason this is really good in FIFA is because I can choose to put in my unwanted cards to get a Yapstam back, or I can buy one off the market and use coins and then keep those unwanted cards for different SBCs. Like if we just go over the icons, there's some really good ones on offer. There's a base Maldini, a kind of special card, Cole, Jairzinho, Stoichkov, Vieira, Carlos Alberto, and Ronaldinho. Like they really do offer like some good cards in these SBCs. Team of the Year Gareth Bale. I mean, Gareth Bale was in a 250 player pack in eFootball a couple weeks ago, and EA are giving them away pretty much for free to play players. Like it's definitely achievable as a free to play player. I'd say it's best Robin van Persie. You get the idea. But this system's really good because if we just look at the FUT Champs rewards I got recently, so I just played FUT Champs, and this is kind of who I packed. And none of these players really get into my team, but they still have value to me because I know I can submit them into an SBC and then get a different player that I actually want in return, like that Yapstam. And I've always said this system would be so good in eFootball, considering we don't have a player market where you can kind of buy and sell cards. Like these cards are stuck in your club forever. Like these Messis here, I've got the new Blitzkrieg Messi. I don't really need the old Messis anymore. They have no real value for me other than sentimentality. It would be cool if I could trade them in and get a new version of a player. Like this Romario pack came out a few days ago, and like I've used both cards on someone else's account. They're very good players, but I've already got a version of Romario and a version of Zico and Danielson actually. So this pack doesn't really interest me, considering I'm not going to pay all that money for a slight upgrade. But imagine if Konami had it so if you have a version of Romario, a version of Zico, and a version of Danielson, and then alongside that you submit in, I don't know, say 15 special cards, it means you get the players in the pack. I think that would be a much better system because it allows players to keep engaging with the content of the game, build up their accounts, and keep up to date. But in my opinion, it also encourages spending on the game because even if I know, all right, this Danielson, I really don't want to use him, he's not going to get in my team. If I know that he has some value because I'll be able to trade him in for another player in the future, it makes me go, you know what, maybe I should go for this pack, because at the moment I only really open packs where I know all 3 players are going in my team. In the current situation, Konami released most packs with only 1 or 2 players being good and the third one kind of being a dud. This SBC system doesn't change Danielson really being a dud on the pitch and not getting into my team, but it does create value for the card, and in my eyes encourages spending. And I think this is most evident in player of the weeks, because player of the weeks are something that's usually only valuable once every 4 or 5 weeks. And with the way player of the weeks work at the moment, you can only spend 300 coins at a time. on a pack. You can sometimes get a fourth spin if you complete an event, but you are limited. Now, the reason Konami do this is because they know if you really want this Nico Williams, if you could just clear the pack, any other Nico Williams player of the week that comes out for the rest of the time pretty much isn't valuable to you because you already have a different version. So they limit it to a limited amount of spins. So in case you don't get lucky, you have to go for Nico Williams again. But honestly, with how far behind player of the weeks have fallen, I think this just doesn't work anymore as a model. Like, I don't really know people who spend on player of the weeks. Like, I think even free to play players just avoid them. Like, if they're not really upgrading their team. But that could change if they added this SBC system. And imagine you had, say, 6 player of the week players. If you could submit them in to get a new spin on the current player of the week, that would be really good, because that means every week player of the week comes out, you might go, all right, I'm spending my 300 coins and getting those 3 players, because I know sometime in the next 5 to 6 weeks there's going to be a player of the week, Vinicius Jr., Leo, Mbappe, someone who you really, really want. And if you have all these extra player of the week cards saved up that you can convert into spins on the current team of the week, from Konami's point of view, it changes you risking 300 coins when that Mbappe is in player of the week, and your spending is limited at 300 coins, versus you spending 300 coins pretty much every week to get up these players in your club so you can then convert them. And then back to the legend example, if you have all these legends, previous versions, and you want to upgrade, like, I don't think they'd let you just throw in an old Zico to get a new Zico back. You'd have to put something extra in. But then again, player of the week, special cards, anything really that can do it. And I think of instances like these players here, the Zé Roberto, Luis Garcia, Petit, all these players we got at the start of eFootball 25. These players were good at the time, but I don't think people care too much about them now. It would be good if you could submit all of these guys in, and maybe you only get 1 or 2 players back, but it gets you hooked on the game and logging in every week to see, okay, what SBC player have they added to this game? Because if you play FIFA, you know, like 6 p.m. content every single day, you kind of want to log on at 6 p.m. to see what is new. But just to go back over to FIFA, I recently got into Elite Division, and this is my rank at the moment. Now, I did get up to about rank 10,000, but then I got new players free off EA and changed my tactic, and I'm still figuring that out. So that's why I'm saying I'm debating this Yapstam, because I did use this loan version, and he was so much better, even though he's 89 rated, than like Bastoni I'm using at the moment, or someone else. So the reason I think this would be so good for eFootball is because anytime, like, remember that Torres for 500 points that came out? Like, a lot of people have to debate, is it worth going for? I thought it was definitely worth going for. That Torres is amazing. But it does create a lot of decisions you may have to make when you're building your team. Like, your team is always kind of dependent on what SBCs that EA are releasing. To be fair, actually, none of these players I have in my squad at the moment are from SBCs, except for Casillas. Actually, I got Casillas in an SBC. But they are pretty much all untradeable. The only tradable players are this left mid Team of the Year Wrighton and this Team of the Year James, who I bought last night. And then I ended up packing this Barcola, who was like 2 million coins about a few days ago, from a pack they offered in Objectives. So this type of stuff is really good for the game, and I do have an EAFC channel, as mentioned earlier. So if you want to check this out, I don't upload as much videos, but I do live stream quite often, and then I also live stream on Twitch as well, playing EAFC. So feel free to check this out if you do play EAFC and you didn't know I was playing it as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.